morning.
Good morning and welcome to Neighborhood Unitarian Universalist Church in Pasadena. Welcome to all members, friends, and guests. My name is Jacob Villeneuve.
And my name is Louisa Villeneuve, and I serve on your board of trustees.
We are very happy to serve as your worship associates today. Neighborhood Church creates and grows an inclusive faith community connected by love, spirit, and service. We acknowledge our presence on the ancestral and unceded territory of the Gabrielina Tonga people, the traditional caretakers of the lands and waters of this campus. We acknowledge our harmful colonial histories and commit to decolonizing our own practices, to learning new ways of being in community with each other and with the land itself.
Today's service is led by Reverend Dr. Omega Burkhart, and music is led by Dr. Zenaida Robles with Wells Lang. Please take a moment to silence your devices as we begin our service. Families with young children are always welcome in the sanctuary, and there is additional play area for the very youngest in the narthex in the back. For adults and older youth who don't need assistance, there is a quiet crafting table close to the organ. And today I have two brief announcements. Today our children and youth will start in our sanctuary after the time for all ages. They will proceed together to Ross Chapel. Make sure to register your children for their classes or sign up on a visitor form so that we have your emergency contact information. And you might have noticed the picnic tables in the front with the blue tablecloths. Those are there for you. So after church, if you want to have coffee, have a chat, you're welcome to sit and use the space. Our order of service this morning is available as a link in the Sunday email and online by scanning the QR code on the back of your hymnal with your phone camera. Again, welcome to Neighborhood Church, an inclusive faith community connected by love, spirit, and service.
Today's prelude is performed in honor of Mid-Autumn Festival, which is tomorrow.
We gather this morning in a community practice of intentional slowing down. As my colleague, the Reverend Michelle Collins, writes, "Some days the world's pain floods through us like water through a broken dam. Every headline, every cry of distress becoming our own. We come here thirsty for the wisdom to care without drowning, to love without losing ourselves in the undertow of others' sorrow." Today we gather here in practice of Lectio Divina, an intentional process of engaging with a text. Today we'll hear one particular poem several times today in a couple of different versions and in different languages and different translations. Each time we read it, I encourage you to breathe deeply in and let the words flow through you. For our first reading, I offer you Psalm 5 from the People's Bible. This is the New Revised Standard Version for our invocation today. And of course, I must get my reading glasses for this because the words are very tiny. Psalm 5. Give ear to my words, O Lord. Give heed to my sighing. Listen to the sound of my cry, my King and my God, for to you I pray. O Lord, in the morning you hear my voice. In the morning I plead my case to you and watch. For you are not a God who delights in wickedness. Evil will not sojourn with you. The boastful will not stand before your eyes. You hate all evildoers. You destroy those who speak lies. The Lord abhors the bloodthirsty and deceitful. But I, through the abundance of your steadfast love, will enter your house. I will bow down toward your holy temple in awe of you. Lead me, O Lord, in your righteousness because of my enemies. Make your way straight before me. For there is no truth in their mouths. Their hearts are destruction. Their throats are open graves, they flatter with their tongues. Make them bear their guilt, O God. Let them fall by their own counsels. Because of their many transgressions, cast them out, for they have rebelled against you. But let all who take refuge in you rejoice. Let them ever sing for joy. Spread your protection over them so that those who love you may name and exalt in you. For you bless the righteous, O Lord. You cover them with favor as with a shield. Come, let us worship together this morning.
Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our opening hymn, number 213, There's a Wideness in Your Mercy.
Good morning. I'd like to invite all of the children and the young at heart, anyone else, as Reverend Omega says, who would like to sit on the floor, to please come up. So we heard Reverend Omega talk about how today we're doing the Lectio Divina, where we're going to go over the same text a few different times. And because we aren't gonna be here for the whole time, I brought a different text to read to you, but we're gonna do a similar type of process. So I'm gonna read it several times, and we're gonna see how it goes and what you think. But the point is to kind of ponder and think about the words in stillness and contemplation. So here we go. I don't know why I didn't trust you to be on my side. I broke into a million pieces and I can't go back. But now I'm seeing all the beauty in the broken glass. The scars are part of me, darkness and harmony, my voice without the lies. This is what it sounds like. Now, these words might be familiar to you. Do you recognize them? Okay. For anyone, yeah. Does anyone else recognize them? Oh. So these words are from a very powerful song that's from K-pop Demon Hunters. So if you have not had a chance to watch that movie, you will know now what has been calling to the kids. A lot of kids, it speaks to them. So we are going to be reading this again. All right, let's see if we notice anything different. I don't know why I didn't trust you to be on my side. I broke into a million pieces, and I can't go back. But now I'm seeing all the beauty in the broken glass. The scars are part of me, darkness and harmony, my voice without the lies. This is what it sounds like. Did you notice anything different? Are there any words that... So you don't know what I'm talking about? Okay. What did you think? I don't know why I didn't trust you to be on my side. Right, is that maybe we can trust people. Maybe we hesitate to trust people. Exactly, that's what the song is about learning how to trust people. But people maybe also have to earn our trust sometimes as well. We're gonna read just the end part of it one last time and see if there's anything else that stands out. The scars are part of me, darkness and harmony, my voice without the lies. This is what it sounds like. And now let's just kind of sit with those words for a second. Did anything different stand out to you that time? Even if you don't know the song? No? I'm very calm today. Thank you for going through that process with me. And now you've been introduced to K-pop Demon Hunters if you hadn't before. We are going to, in a minute, stand up and put our pads back, and then we're gonna sing the kids out.
Each Sunday, our congregation dedicates 100% of its contributions to 501c3 organizations or neighborhood church-based social justice activities that are making a difference in our community and the world. You can donate in one of two ways. You can use your cell phone to donate by texting the number on the screen. Or if you'd prefer to donate in person, put your donation in one of the designated boxes during the music or after the service. There's a donation box here up front, behind the center row in the back, and in the narthex entryway on the table. You may rise during the music to put your donation in the box if you wish. Please extend help to those in your neighborhood who may need assistance reaching the donation boxes. If you wish to make a payment towards your pledge or contribution to church operations, make a note in the subject line or use an envelope available at the donation boxes. This week, our gift will support the Center for Restorative Justice. Here with more is Elizabeth Sadler.
Good morning. The Center for Restorative Justice in Pasadena creates a soft place for hard conversations. For nearly a decade, the center has been a hub of learning and transformation, as Lynn and Carrie spoke about last week. They organize trainings, workshops, tours, which they call pilgrimages, and book clubs in the strategic pursuit of racial justice and repair. I'll share an excerpt called I Dissent from their October newsletter. In early June, the government launched immigration enforcement raids across Los Angeles and surrounding counties. With these stark words, Justice Sonia Sotomayor begins her dissent. And from the very first line, the picture she paints is unmistakable. Armed agents, masked faces, black SUVs. The picture is not one of justice, but one of terror. Justice Sotomayor's dissent forces us to look in a mirror. She does not merely argue law, she exposes the soul of the nation. We should not have to live in a country where the government can seize anyone who looks Latino, she insists. But isn't that exactly the country we live in when silence prevails? There is something powerful in the word dissent. It is not just a legal act, it is a moral one. Dissent says, I cannot sign my name to injustice. Dissent says, I will not let this go quietly into the night. Dissent insists on memory that records like a ledger, a history that shows not just what wrongful acts were done, but who righteously resisted. And so the question comes back to us. Will we dissent? Not in the narrow judicial sense, but in the everyday sense. Will we dissent against a government that threats human beings like contraband? Will we dissent against the normalization of racial suspicion? Will we dissent against a democracy that protects some while exposing others to the full force of the state? We know that if we do not dissent, silence becomes complicity, and complicity is how constitutional protections unravel. Justice Sotomayor's words are a warning flare, a signal shot into the night sky. She calls us to remember that constitutional freedom is not guaranteed. It is guarded by those willing to dissent. So this Wednesday, October 8th, the center is co-hosting an Artivism event, art-based activism, with Pasadena for Palestine, where we will make art to send to Pasadena City Council members, encouraging divestment from companies complicit in the Palestinian genocide. There's a flyer on the patio with more information if you'd like to join us. The center's director, John Williams, will join us on the patio. He's at another event this morning. He's coming directly here when he can, and he would love to meet you. You'll be able to sign up for the center's newsletter and get more information on their programs. Thank you for giving generously to support our partners at the Center for Restorative Justice as they make the past present for a just future. Thank you.
And thank you for giving generously.
Dime Robadora is a Spanish Renaissance song from around 1556. The lyrics are a lament of unrequited love, saying, "Tell me, robber, what did I do to deserve this?"
For our next version of our reading this morning, I will read to you the poem Salmo 5 from Ernesto Cardenal. First, I'll be reading it in Spanish, and then I'll read the translation in English. Escucha mis palabras, oh Señor, oye mis gemidos, escucha mi protesta, porque tú no eres un Dios amigo de los dictadores, ni partidario de su política, ni te influencia la propaganda, ni estás en sociedad con el gángster. No existe sinceridad en sus discursos ni en sus declaraciones de prensa. Hablan de paz en sus discursos mientras aumentan su producción de guerra. Hablan de paz en las conferencias de paz y en secreto se preparan para la guerra. Sus radios mentirosos rugen toda la noche. Sus escritorios están llenos de planes criminales y expedientes siniestros. Pero tú me salvarás de sus planes. Hablan con la boca de las ametralladoras. Sus lenguas relucientes son las bayonetas. Castígalos, oh Dios. Malogra su política, confunde sus memorándums, impide sus programas. A la hora de la sirena de alarma, tú estarás conmigo. Tú serás mi refugio el día de la bomba. Al que no cree en la mentira de sus anuncios comerciales, ni en sus campañas publicitarias, ni en sus campañas políticas. Tú lo bendices, lo rodeas con tu amor, como con tanques blindados. That was the original poem written by Ernesto Cardenal, and I will now present to you one version, one translation. This one is by Robert Marquez. Psalm 5. Give ear to my words, O Lord, hearken unto my moaning. Pay heed to my protest. For you are not a God friendly to dictators, neither are you partisan of their politics, nor are you influenced by their propaganda, neither are you in league with the gangster. There is no sincerity in their speeches, nor in their press releases. They speak of peace in their speeches while they increase their war production. They speak of peace at peace conferences and secretly prepare for war. Their lying radios roar into the night. Their desks are strewn with criminal intentions and sinister reports. But you will deliver me from their plans. They speak through the mouth of the submachine gun. Their flashing tongues are bayonets. Punish them, O Lord, thwart them in their policies, confuse their memorandums, obstruct their programs. At the hour of alarm, you shall be with me. You shall be my refuge on the day of the bomb. To him who believes not in the lies of their commercial messages, nor in their publicity campaigns, nor in their political campaigns, you will give your blessing. With love do you compass him as with armor-plated tanks.
Please rise in body or in spirit, hopefully in body. And as you rise, take stock of your posture, thinking about how you can create an alignment that allows your spine to be tall so that your voice can flow. Let us sing together hymn 1047, Nada te turbe, We will sing it 3 times, and each time will get softer. Cultivating compassion for ourselves in a world in which we are currently living, let's face it, is tremendously hard. In a world that continually pokes at us to be reactive, it pokes at us to make more noise, it pokes at us to get riled up. And mind you, I think all of those things are important. I think that's all important, but also to slow down, to nourish our souls, to nourish our spirits. Slowing down itself in times like these can feel like a fool's errand. Slowing down enough to breathe deeply, to hold grace for ourselves and our siblings, to intentionally approach, even if it's just for a moment, to intentionally approach our world with wonder and curiosity and care. To do this can feel daunting. We are constantly asked by others, and we are asking ourselves to multitask, to make hard decisions. Even we're being asked to regulate, and we ask ourselves, regulate your emotions. All of this drains our cognitive and our spiritual batteries. A practice that many throughout the ages have found helpful in slowing down is the meditative and repetitive reading or singing, as we just did, of an inspirational text. Lectio Divina, or the intentional engagement with a text, might offer some practice. I know it helps me. It feels doable and also inspirational. Most commonly associated with the engagement of Scripture, Lectio Divina, I have found in my life, it works for many texts, and if we understand text to mean lots of stuff, not just poetry, but also poetry, I have found this to be helpful, because the somatic repetition soothes our nervous systems. It gives us an opportunity to feel more centered, grounded, and more caring towards ourselves and to others. Now, lyric poetry, in its form that we recognize today, was first primarily song.
It would have been repeated as a way of teaching or a way to share stories or a way to spread news from town to town. The literal first social network, you know. The earliest written pieces of poetry and song tied together information and religion. That was really then seen as inseparable, and now, depending on the text also. Some of you might recall my sermon from last Halloween about one of, if not the first written poem, the hymn to Ninkasi. It was a poem written to the goddess of beer, amongst other things. And within that poem hymn, it also contained a recipe for how to brew it. Thus, religious poetry set to song was directed towards this divine presence who provided life, and thus the song poem was born. For those of you who find inspiration in or who have studied the Psalms of the Bible, poems often also put to song or recited with a backdrop of music, flute, or guitar, depending. You might find in that ancient tradition new connections as you read them today in our current context. The Psalms are meant to be read, depending on the circumstance, sung in repetition, read in repetition, and in lament. Stephen Breck Reed writes that the lament and the hymn are the two predominant forms of the 150 Psalms, and they're constantly negotiated by readers of the Bible because they demonstrate a certain plasticity. That's his word, plasticity. It's an ability to remain relevant to our individual and cultural context throughout history. These 150 psalms are divided roughly into 5 groups of hymns and laments and form rough collections that are united thematically in some way. The subject of today's Lectio Divina by Ernesto Cardenal, Psalm 5, or Salmo 5, is in the first collection, considered by some scholars to be the royal psalms, an acknowledgement of the supreme and transcendent power of God. Thus, the text song that is found in Psalm 5 is a direct plea for guidance and protection, written in a very specific format, that of the lament. The biblical lament has a very specific structure. First, there is an address directly to God. A description then follows of the difficult circumstances in which the speaker finds themselves. Then there's a plea for help, followed by a statement of confidence in God to be able to resolve the situation. Then there is some type of affirmation of the speaker's innocence or willing participation in making it better, and then a vow to that God for continued service. And then there's a concluding statement. That's a format of a lament. Now, this lament, translated directly over to other kinds of poetry that are not divine, sacred, or in the Bible, it's so popular because precisely of the malleability and relatability, even though it has a very specific structure. Breck Reed writes, "A lament is often part of a cultural response by which people seek to negotiate a changing social context." And boy, are we in a changing social context right now. The lament has surged in various generations and in different contexts because of its intensely personal but also culturally located context. Ernesto Cardenal, Nicaraguan poet and Catholic priest, would have been deeply familiar with the history, the form, and the importance of the Psalms and the form of the lament. And he chose quite carefully and deliberately the Psalms as a form with which he could dialogue. Spanning his 100-year life, he died just in the year 2020. His life was dedicated to what is called arte comprometido. Not only art for art's sake, but art as a religious and political thought creator, a motivator for change. In the early 1950s, he participated in a failed coup attempt against the Somoza government, and he fled to find mystical study space and time at the Trappist Monastery of Gethsemane in Kentucky, where he studied alongside Thomas Merton and others. An early voice in what is now considered to be a wave of liberation theology in the 1950s and 60s in Latin America. After becoming an ordained priest in the mid-1960s, Cardenal founded the artist colony on an island, Solintaname, dedicated with near monastic depth, near monastic precision, intention to art. Art as revolution. It was a refuge for political exiles. After his exile in 1977, when the Somoza government burned down that island refuge, 2 years later, he became the Minister of Culture for the incoming government in 1979 for the Sandinista movement, where he advocated for revolution through religion and art and mysticism and against the tyranny of dictatorship. He stated, "The Bible is full of revolutions. The prophets are people with a message of revolution. Jesus of Nazareth takes the revolutionary message of the prophets, and we also continue trying to change the world and make revolution. Those revolutions failed, but others will come," he famously wrote. Now we know, those of us with longevity of life or who have studied history, we know that the United States government at that time was deeply against the Sandinista government as part of the crush in the 1970s and 1980s of anything in Central or South America, or frankly the world, that leaned remotely towards communism. As Padraig Ó Tuama states, the great Irish poet and philosopher, the Sandinista government itself would say it was characterized by its commitment to social justice and revolutionary ideas and reforming society on behalf of the poorest of society. But there was a lot of oppression and criticism regarding human rights and authoritarian process during that time too. Cardenal was deeply aware of this and used his poetic voice, his teachings as a minister, as a priest, and as an artist to bring change to the world, starting within even his own government policies. Thus, to study Ernesto Cardenal's Salmo 5, Psalm 5, is to negotiate with lament, this biblical form that has a specific structure and purpose. And also, reading the poem is also to delve into that very specific context in which he was writing as a Marxist. The Cold War struggles against the United States that was funding at that time anti-communist or anything that remotely looked like it with military force. Reading his poem also, it was originally written in Spanish, and it refers to a biblical text originally written in Hebrew, and now we're reading it in English. It's a meditation on language itself. It's a meditation on communication, on translation, and the political motivations for specific language choices. To read this as a Lectio Divina exercise is to engage with the poem in some of these ways, but also it is a way to leave some space, to create some quiet and reflection on what you place as important in our current world and how you might find more peace in it. The repetition is a somatic practice. It creates a response. In that repetition, what resonates? What words do you hear maybe the second or third time that you didn't hear the first time? What is your experience in engaging with the text? Because your experience in the engagement is as important as the text itself. What guides you, and where are you led? Where do you find yourself? Lectio Divina engagement originates as a way to to negotiate biblical texts, of course, but it can be used as a very useful metaphor for slowing down, to engage with anything in your life. The distinct pattern of a Lectio Divina, we start first with the experience of Lectio, the first reading. That happened today when I read the Psalm, Psalm 5, as our invocation. With little context and little experience, we are invited to dialogue with the text. That is the first step of Lectio Divina. The second, meditation, is an invitation to consider words and phrases, perhaps choosing just a few to focus on. In this step, I read to you the text in English and in Spanish. The third step, the prayer, oratio, sending an intention out as you engage with the text a third time. Perhaps it's a plea of your own. It's stating an ask. It's an intentional entering the conversation with that which resides within you or beyond you. God or spirit of life, presence, this moment, inner wisdom. And finally, contemplation, giving a moment of silence to let what comes, come. A deliberate pause, an intentional removal of objective, a quiet of the mind and of the heart. So with that invitation, let us engage with the text one more time. We'll follow it with a few moments of shared silence before we sing our closing hymn together. So with this, I offer you another translation of Psalm 5 by Nestor Cardenal. This time it is translated by Jonathan Cohen. And you may notice some changes from the previous translation. There is a deliberate choice to change some of the words, especially towards the end of this psalm. Give ear to my words, O Lord. Hear my groans. Listen to my protest. For you are not a God who is a friend of dictators, nor a supporter of their politics, nor are you influenced by their propaganda, nor do you associate with any gangster. There is no honesty in their speeches, nor in their press releases. They talk of peace in their speeches while they increase their war production. They talk of peace at peace conferences and secretly prepare for war. Their lying radios blare all night long. Their desks are piled with criminal plans and sinister documents. But you will protect me from these plans. They speak through the mouth of machine guns. Their flashing tongues are bayonets. Punish them, O God, foil their politics, mix up their memos, block their programs. At the hour of the alarm siren, you will be with me. You will be my refuge on the day of the bomb. You bless the righteous who don't believe in the lies of their ads, nor in their publicity and political campaigns. Your love surrounds them like armored tanks.
please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our closing hymn, number 86, Blessed Spirit of My Life.
For our benediction, I offer you these words, a combination of lament and hymn. Give ear to my words, O blessed Spirit of life. Give me strength through stress and strife. Help me live with dignity. Let me know serenity. Fill me with a vision, clear my mind of fear and confusion. And when my thoughts flow restlessly, let peace find a home in me. Spirit of great mystery, hear the still, small voice in me. Help me live my wordless creed as I comfort those in need. Fill me with compassion. Be the source of my intuition. Then, when life is done for me, let love be my legacy. May it be so.
Hello. So this song is called Cucurucucu Paloma. Paloma is a dove, not the drink. And Cucurucucu is the sound a dove makes. And in this song, the first verse, we learn about this person who is not eating. They're spending their all night crying. They're not sleeping. So they're slowly killing themselves, and they do pass away. And out of loneliness, they miss their lover. And in the second verse, that's when the dove is introduced, and the belief is the dove is outside the windowsill singing or calling for its lover, and the belief is that this dove is the spirit of the person who passed away. Dicen que no comía, nomás le iban puro llorar. Dicen que no dormía, nomás le iba en puro tomar. Juran que el mismo cielo se estremecía al oír su llanto, cómo sufrió por ella, que hasta la muerte la fue llamando. Ay, 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 lloraba. Ay, 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 reía. Ay, 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 cantaba de pasión mortal, moría. Que una paloma triste muy de mañana le iba a cantar a su casita sola, con sus puertitas en par en par. Juran que esa paloma no es otra cosa más que su alma, que todavía la espera a que regrese la desdichada. No llores, las piedras jamás, paloma, ¿qué van a saber?